Hello and welcome everyone to Dev Chatter. My name is Brendan, and today we are going to write some C# and .NET Core code like we do pretty much every day on this stream. I noticed we just got our auto host from C# Fritz. So if you were lurking in C# Fritz's stream, welcome. I hope you are planning on joining us for some more C# and .NET Core. We are actually doing some similar things to what he was doing on stream today. We're not doing an ASP.NET Core website yet. We will be converting our project to one. But we are using EF Core and talking to a SQL database similar to what he was doing before, and we're using SQL migrations to do it. But our project is a chatbot that connects to Twitch, and we're eventually going to connect it to Discord and some other services as well. We'll probably make it configurable to connect to Mixer or YouTube chat, whichever one you want to do. The way we're doing that is by keeping all of the specific to Twitch content is all hidden within this Twitch library, so it would be very easy for us to make a Mixer and YouTube library similar to this and make the same connections there. So anyway, because I know we're going to have people that do it, I'm going to go ahead and start up the bot so that it will join the chat and be available for people to use different commands that they want to use to talk to the bot. When it gets in, you'll see down in what's to you the lower right hand corner, off to my left over there, you'll see that the bot has announced itself and has joined chat, and it is now available for us to use commands. So we can have it do interesting things like do a shout out to C# Fritz, for example, and it will respond back and give a huge shout out to C# Fritz and give everybody a link. So anybody who's in here who doesn't already follow C# Fritz could go ahead and click that link and give him a follow, because we are a big fan of C# Fritz here. He is actually a friend of mine in real life as well as on the internet. We actually worked together for a handful of years at a company. Not his current employer, not my current employer. So let's see. What we were working on before is commands on our bot, and I'm going to go ahead and bring up the issue tracker for our bot, and I also want to show a couple of pull requests that I pushed in so you guys can see what code has changed since our previous stream, which was yesterday. So Monday and Tuesday, we stream at about the same time, which is, 5 minutes ago start time. And anyway, I have added a few issues to our issue tracker. So anybody that has been paying attention will notice that we have a few more items in here. One of those is I did comment that while just trying to get things working in previous streams, we have kind of hacked some code in there just to make it work. And that code will need to get fixed up at some point. That might be by us on stream, or that could be anybody else that wants to take a crack at practicing their async code. It's just some simple async and await code that we need to add that we didn't get around to doing at the time because we would have had to change, make more changes than we wanted to get into to just, make the feature work on stream. The next item. It's one. I will say that that's actually one of the challenges here. There's some code that's just less interesting to write, so we try to avoid doing too much of that on stream, only because we do want to get your guys' attention and keep it for the hours that we stream. Hey Magnus, let's see. Yes, we noticed that you missed the last couple of streams. I think there were some that you were going to like. There is a big one, Magnus, that I do actually want to tell you about. We've added a few commands to our bot, so if anybody wants to, you can actually just type !commands, and the bot will actually look into its own systems and determine which of its available commands you have the rights to run and report those back. So unlike most chatbots that you'll find on Twitch, instead of just a static list that someone created that gets out of date over time, our list of commands is based on the actual running code of the bot. So those really are the commands that are available to you. So you'll notice, thanks to Magnus giving that a test there, you will see that there are commands that I can run that Magnus can't run. For example, you'll notice that I have the add command that Magnus doesn't have. Welcome back, Black Elvis. I see you're in here too. Your test of our chat works perfectly. We got your message. So the add command is an interesting one, in that it will let you add a new command to the system. Oh, dang it, I broke the thing. Whoops, sorry guys. So I made a couple of changes. Yeah, the bot just logged out, guys. Without telling you. Where did we... So, yeah, we crashed on something. We null refed. I'll toss it on screen so you guys can see. We were changing a couple of things with the bot. I merged it in. After a quick test, I didn't thoroughly check it. So, chat user collection. We were changing some items, so we're going to start there. If I can type, which I can't type today. So, I'm going to re-enable the bot, but what I'm going to do is, for now, just so it's in there and you guys can use it, I'm going to turn off rock, paper, scissors for the moment, guys. So I apologize, rock, paper, scissors will be off until we figure out what the deal is with it. So turning off rock, paper, scissors, because it seems to be what blew up. Because it looked like it happened right after the rock, paper, scissors command, although it might have just been the update. So it's in here, line 71. So I'm going to go to line 71, just right here. User has at least that many tokens. Okay, so I do know what the problem is. We did not work hard enough to actually get that user, which I figured might be the case. So essentially what we need to do is we need to make this a little safer, first off. What we want to do is... we're just checking active chatters, which is not good enough. What we want to do is we want to see if we can find them in the active chatters. If we can't find them in there, then we want to go to the database to find them. So, if chat user is null, then what we are going to do is we're going to go to the repository. But actually, I realize we might have a method that just does this. Watch user, chat user collection, need to watch user. Where did this get called from? Move currency from. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We want to get or create the chat user. So essentially, this method here, we may want to push this further down. What happens with this chat user? They always get sent to the watch collection. Where else did this get called? Where's the other place? Integrate and then stop watching. Okay, so what I notice here, guys, is that this method really looks like it should be on the chat user collection, not here. So I am actually going to push it down into our chat user collection, which is basically just a class we're using to keep track of the chat user. Okay, so now that we've got it down there, we just need to call that one. which is nice because that actually means that repository is no longer actually in the currency generator, I don't think. Looks like all of that has been pushed down into here, which gets that responsibility off of that. So we now have this user creation lock that I actually think is a nice way to go on here, because we don't really want to lock the active user collection. We really just want to lock user creation so that we don't do that twice. So now what we want to do is, if it was null, then we want to get or create the chat user based on the username. And we have chat user at that point. Create that chat user. Or create them from this. Interesting. How did we call that before? So we event args to chat user here. Interesting. Okay. In that case, I'm just going to create a new chat user right here with that username in this case, because we don't have anything more than that. They'll automatically, so this is if we have someone that's entirely new to the system, they will get created here. But in this case, so Black Elvis, you are already in the system, so the database already knows about you. So, so it should just be adding you as a user that it pulls out of the database. So if it's null, pull this one in, and then we want to watch them then. Magnus, I turned off our the rock paper scissors game right now while we fix this, so you won't be able to use it just yet. So what we need to do is do chat user collection dot, and then I need to make this public, and then that should work. So once that change goes in there, and actually I'm going to have to stop the bot for this, so it will be off for a second, so you guys won't be earning any tokens, and you can't call any commands just now. But we will turn it back on, bring it right back into chat here. So you guys can watch it start up here. Oh, I didn't turn off rock, paper, scissors, so give me one sec. Hello and good evening to you as well, Jay Roseguard. I apologize if I screwed up that name. If I did, just tell me how to pronounce it and I will attempt to get it right next time. Or at least close. Hopefully everybody's having a good morning, afternoon, evening, or whatever it is in your time. Fantastic. I'm assuming that that's normally spelled with an umlaut based on the OE, but maybe I'm wrong. So, alright, so the bot's running again. So I'm going to go ahead and start up a rock, paper, scissors game. Someone else want to jump in the game and we'll see how the bot does. It is currently set to wait 2 minutes. So yeah, that's right, Magnus. I should mention, it's actually going to wait 2 minutes and then attempt to start the game now. And what it's going to do is, we are each individually playing against the bot. So that's why it's okay that you guys got to see that I pick rock. So you're not all brilliant by choosing paper. You didn't just suddenly fool me and win. Okay. I meant the OE, but yeah, the double AA is also a tricky one. Yeah, so Magnus, since you didn't pick one, it's going to automatically choose one for you. So you either get the option of choosing which one you want, or it'll randomly select. So that's how the game works. The other thing that's happening now is we check to see if you have earned enough coins to be able to play, and it should be subtracting those from you when you join the rock, paper, scissors game. So we'll see how that goes for everybody. And yes, you can continue to change if you decide you don't want to use that same one. So yes, Magnus, the coins command actually does now list the number of coins that you actually have. It is no longer just a response telling you to look somewhere else for that. And the reason they are tokens, for anybody that doesn't know, is that we're eventually going to add an arcade command, and you're going to be able to use your tokens, your arcade tokens, the coins for the arcade tokens, because we're not using real currency here, they're just tokens. So, cool. The winners are, hey, Janisku and I won. Awesome. Good job, guys. Okay, so that is worthy of a commit. We definitely fixed the chat null ref. And for those that you don't know, on stream I just use the GitHub desktop client. The only reason I use this one is because it's another client and I don't want to deal with having multiple ones, and so I can keep this one specific to DevChatter, and I don't actually use it for anything else. So I also do like sample apps and things like that for talks that I'm giving, and in order to just keep that clutter out of the way for DevChatter, we just use this one, and we mostly just use it because clicking the publish button will automatically wire up our upstream in any new branches we create, which is way easier than actually typing the upstream command. And then additionally, I like being able to do commits with a visual diff like this, and it works out pretty nicely. So checking user coins. So we fixed that. I'm going to go ahead and push that up, and then I'm going to do a quick pull request on that and just merge that in. So I believe we got 50 coins for winning, Magnus. So Magnus, the thing you get for a draw is you don't lose coins. So congratulations on not losing coins. If you lose, you're going to lose coins. So that's the way it works today. Oh, you got 20 for... No. That's just time passing, Magnus. You're getting coins all the time that you're sitting in here in chat. So, yeah, we are also generating coins over time. So that's what you guys are getting. So, fixed chat null ref. We moved coin checking to chatter collection. We're going to create that pull request, and this one I'm actually just going to send in because this is a fix that really should have been in there. That was my mistake for not actually having that in there at the beginning, because I merged in the code we did last time at the end of the stream without thoroughly checking it, so I don't want master to be broken, which it is. But it is no longer broken, so congratulations to me, I have fixed master. And thank you all for catching that mistake. So you're not going to lose 50 if you do that, Magnus. We're going to adjust the amounts at some point and make it a little more fair. So the idea being that you've got about a third chance of winning at any given time, so we think you should lose about that many coins as you would otherwise win. So roughly speaking, coins kind of even out over time. So as we make gambling games, this really is gambling your coins away. The goal is that we don't make it so people just get mass tons of coins. So there's a chance of getting more, but most of the time the house should win and you should lose coins. But we want to keep that to be a very small amount, So that's probably how we'll do that. Okay, so now that we've got that in there and we are updated to the latest version on master, let's jump back over to GitHub and take a look at our issue list now that the bot is running and not broken. And you guys are playing another game of rock, paper, scissors. So we have a handful of things in here that we want to take a look at. We have make commands be case insensitive, which I think is a good one that I just recently added. I think that's a good one for people that want to make a contribution to the project, could do pretty easily. That's pretty much just going around the system, looking where we are looking up our different commands in the bot, and making sure that we're doing a case insensitive comparison for that. Because in a lot of cases we just did a quick, string equals for those and said we don't care that they're case sensitive, the bot still works. And the same type of thing goes for if you say RPS rock and you do it with I think we did case insensitive for doing that lookup for those. Okay, so one suggestion we got was adding a let's see, get full viewer list for currency updates, add streams command. So the add streams command I thought was an interesting one. So right now, here's what we've got, guys. If I just do, congratulations on the win there, Black Elvis. If we just do an exclamation point shout out command, it goes to the list of channels that DevChatter follows, chooses a random one, and gives them a shout out. So you'll see we just gave a shout out to Fierce Kittens, and I didn't have to specify that. It just does it. And there goes the next game of rock, paper, scissors. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at making a streams command. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to jump over here. Inside of our core project, you'll see that we have a number of commands that we just have in here. And I'm going to make a new streams command for this. So for our streams command, wow, that's going slowly. You guys can see the way that ReSharper is actually building that there. We want to make this, I think we're just going to make it a simple command. And I am going to create a constructor for it and set a couple of things. So the first thing is I'm going to set the command text to be streams. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set the role required to be everyone. So anyone who wants can take a look at the streams that we recommend. We don't want to be restrictive about that. And then what we want to do is override the process method, which is the one that gets called when our command is actually executed. So when someone calls our bot and attempts to run a command, it runs this. And so what we want to do is likely not use what is in the simple command, which basically just does a static response of content and will potentially do token replacements. What we want to do is, man, look at Magnus trying to trick the bot into doing something, passing in underscores and everything. Magnus is on a quest to hack the bot and make it do things we didn't intend. No winners. So we didn't gracefully handle the case where there aren't any winners. So it just says the winners are and an empty list. So okay. So what we want to do is we want to here get the list of streams we recommend. So the couple of ways that we can do this is we could pull this out of our existing set of data that we use to try and do our shout out, or we could make this an entirely different set. So what we could do is we could say if you call streams and don't pass in any parameters, we add a new streamer to the list. So that's one way we could go. Let's take a look at what we've got in here. So I'm going to go ahead and check our event args, because I don't remember. We have chat user, and we have their role. Okay, so we're going to say if their role equals... so what we want to do is, first things first, look for add argument. So we're going to look to see if you passed in an add argument. So that's the way of doing that. And then what I'm going to say is, if so, check for mod or better role. Get list of streams we recommend. So this is going to be else get list of streams we recommend and print out the list. If so, check for mod role or better. Add the stream to our list. Else yell at Magnus. Tell them no. Okay, so there's the basic idea for what we want to build here, and I just put that in there because it gives us a nice frame of reference, which is surprisingly useful when you're on a stream, let me tell you. Alright, so we're going to take a look. If none of you have ever tried doing a stream before, let me say that first our default okay, so argument 1 is not null, and enum dot tryparse. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take in argument 1, and we are gonna say go ahead and ignore case, and then we are gonna say out rule. No, wait. This is argument 1. Hang on. Argument 1. 1 is going to be add. Yeah, we're just doing this. That's simple. Okay, so if that's add, yeah, that's right. Case sensitivity for the win. Okay, so we're going to say, if you passed in add, then let's check your role. Chat user role. Now, did I make a role extension? That's the question. Anybody remember if I did that? List of string extensions. That's funny. We made that on user type. We made to chat user. Extensions, string extensions. We didn't. Interesting. I thought we might have, but we didn't. So... because we can write an extension method off of our user role enum. So let's go ahead and do that for now. So we'll call this user role extensions, which is part of the challenge of doing it as an enum, is the fact that now I have to, if I want to do anything with this, pretty much just make extension methods for it. But that's not the worst thing. So I want to do a public static bool. I'm going to call it foo for now because I don't know what this thing is yet. So we're going to say user role and user role dot role required. Because I like writing it like this. And actually, instead of doing a role extension, I actually kind of want to make this a chat user extension. So we're going to take in a chat user instead. And the reason why is I want to make it really clear which one is the chat user and which one is the role you're checking. So that way no one gets confused and writes it backwards and does, you know, the check of what the role is that is required to check and see if it meets the role of the user. Because if you write it backwards, you're basically going to let everybody do it. And so I don't want anybody to essentially write it wrong. So what I want to do is say, let's see, streamer is 0, so lower numbers have more access. So, oh, can user run command. Do you remember I said I was going to put it on chat user instead? Well, that's because I already did it. Go me. See, I wrote it already. I'm way ahead of myself. Can run command. This. Okay, cool. Yeah, I did that very nicely. Go me. How did I do that? Alright, so if the chat user can run the command, then we are going to say add to our list right here. And then we said our else is triggering. Oh, whoops. I'm just going to call this chat client. I really need to fix that in the base one so we stop having that, which maybe I just did. Chat client dot send message. Stop it, Magnus. There we go. You aren't allowed to add new streams. Person. And event args, chat user, display name. Well, Magnus, I know you're going to be the first one that attempts to do it, so it seems fair. Okay. Alright, so that was that first part. So the next thing we need to do is handle this else case. And we're saying get the list of streams that we recommend, and then print it out. So this is the easy one. See? There we go. Ah, sweet. Welcome, Crimson Green. That could be fun to respond with the calling user. Yeah, I put in the calling user. I yell at you. So, you're not allowed to use this. So, at some point it is going to say you're not allowed to use this, Magnus, because I know you're going to try it, especially now that I've mentioned it. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is this. We need to make a new model object. And so this is the more interesting part here. We need to actually make a change to the system, and this is going to be the more interesting part. We're going to call this our streamer entity. Yeah, sure, why not? Streamer. Channel name. how about date added? And what else do we want on here? I can't think of anything else we want to put on here, really. Times shouted out. We'll track how many times we did shoutouts for them. And I'm just going to do an int because it's easy. We don't need negatives. And if we exceed the number, if we exceed an int, then we've got some serious problems. So I think we can keep track of that stuff, and that seems not crazy. Let's go ahead and make this a data entity. So that'll give it an ID in our system, and make it work with our repository. So now we've modeled our data, so now we want to jump over to Entity Framework, and we are going to add a new public DB set of streamer entity. Call this streamers. Gettle. You gotta make sure you do the gettle, guys. That's a totally new feature in properties in C#. C# 13 added the gettle. The way it works is it doesn't compile and doesn't really exist, and it's a typo. Alright, so we've added that in there. We're still going to need to do the migration, so don't think that what I'm doing works yet, guys. Because it doesn't. Okay, so now on here, we need to make it so that this has an iRepository. We're going to call that repository. We're going to introduce a field repository. And then we're going to take this down here. We're going to use this to create a new streamer entity. And on our streamer entity, we are going to add channel name, which is going to be the second argument, I think. Date added, we're not going to pass in, that'll be today. We're not going to set the GUID, and the time shouted out is going to start out at 0. So that means that I want to jump to the streamer entity again, and I want to set a default value for this. So I'm actually going to set that to UTC now, and that'll be when we added this. And now I could be explicit here and assign that to 0, but that, I mean, doesn't really do anything. I'm explicit in it, but doesn't mean we're not really getting any value out of that, but I'll set it anyway, just so we're really clear about the fact that when you create a new one, it gets 0. So now what we can do is deal with the add case. So the first thing I want to do is put this in a method, because it shouldn't be here. So we're going to say add new streamer. So I think that works out nicely. So we check permission. If user can run command, do it. Otherwise, yell at them. Looks good. So we're going to do a create, and the channel name is going to be the argument that they passed us. And for that, what we want to do is, for one thing, we're not going to pass this. We're going to take this as a parameter, because I don't like the idea of grabbing that based on that. That's clunky. The next thing I want to do, and actually, I'm going to undo that. We're going to pull chat user off, actually. So we're going to replace both occurrences of this and call this the chat user, because that's a reasonable parameter for this. Now, we are still going to need another argument, and we'll see that in a second, because channel name is going to come from the event arguments. So this is going to be argument 2. And argument 2 is going to be element at or default of index 1. Now the reason I'm doing an element at or default is because I want to leverage our null conditional operator and make sure that we're not running into any problems there. Yeah, Magnus, first off, that one's actually a separate command. And in theory, you shouldn't have access to it. In practice, I don't know whether you do or not. So this is going to be channel name. So if that is that, then we want to pass in channel name. And what we're going to say is if channel name, we're going to do string is null or white space channel name. Then we are going to send message, please specify a valid channel name. And we're going to put your name in there as well, because we want to make sure that we acknowledge who it was that that said this. And the reason I want to do that is because if two people call a similar command, I don't want them to get confused who the bot's talking to. Because you got to remember that when we're in chat, it's very important that the bot respond to whoever messaged them directly, because multiple people can send in commands at the same time, and that's really confusing when bots respond back that way. So we're going to return without actually doing anything if we got to that point. Could you instead create a try add new streamer and move the chat client out of the method so you don't need to depend on the chat client? We could, actually. We could do that. Why not use @mentions when responding? I could. I guess they were, they did talk to us, so I can do @mentions. I try not to do too many @mentions because it draws a lot of attention. And at least most of the chat clients I use, it highlights my name whether I'm directly @mentioned or not. So, but yeah, we can. Okay, so channel name here, we want to have this be channel name. On the web, it only highlights your own. Well, here, we'll toss in the @mentions then. That way you can get @mentioned when you try to use the command you're not allowed to use, Magnus. Okay, so we add the stream to the list, and that should be all we need to do to add it. There's nothing special about it, because the other two properties will initialize automatically. So the next thing we want to do is attempt to pull the information out of the repository. And actually, that should be a safe create. Don't create a new channel. So, Alright, we'll take a look at that one in a second. I'm not going to deal with that for now. Prevent inserting same channel. We're going to need to make that unique and a couple of other things like that. Probably put an index on it, a unique index on that column when it gets migrated. But for now, we're going to continue on with this, because I want to do this part. It's more fun. So what we want to do is grab all the streamers. So we're going to say list all the streamer entities for me. So that should get us all the streamer entities. And, but I don't really, so string, streamer, names. So we're going to do a string.join on a comma space and use streamer entities dot select. You guys are saying all kinds of things in chat, and I'm going to look at that in a second, I promise you. Just give me a moment. You're probably like, wouldn't it be easier to do this? And yes, it probably would be. I'm just not thinking of it right now. Welcome to the land of streaming. I will forget about some things. No, it's just Magnus trying to add streams. Dude, we haven't even built this yet. You can't run that command yet. So now that we're adding these streams, we're going to say huge shout out to the following streamers. Okay, so here's what I want to do. So I don't expect that this list is really going to get all that long, so I'm going to do a couple of tricky things. So the first one, I want to do role required, can user run this command? Oh, you're right. You're right. That is an interesting problem. Well said. Let's do this. We're going to override this. And this is going to take in a user role. User role. Instead of one of these. Instead of a bot command, we're going to take in that. And then what we're going to do is call the one from the other. So, good suggestion. Thank you. Can user run the command, and we're going to say bot command dot role required. Thank you. Great suggestion there. Yeah. Magnus was finally gonna be able to smash that one on us and finally get something through that he wasn't supposed to be able to do. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna say user role dot mod. There we go. Magnus, you can no longer run this one. Thank you for the catch there, guys. Much appreciated. So, jumping back here, the thing that I was saying is I want to grab a small set of these. So the reason I'm not going to do I could do a database check and grab a small set of these, but here's what I want to do. I don't think our streamer entity list is ever going to be very long. I'm figuring if we're going to pull, say, 10 out, that's easy to just yank out all at once and cache the whole list and never hit the database again for our list of streamers. So I'm fine with that. So what I'm going to say is streamers to shout. And you're saying, oh, but you pulled all of them, Brendan. You pulled all of them. Oh, did I? That's interesting. I had no idea that I pulled all of them. So what I want to do is order by let's see, gwid.newgwid. Now you guys are gonna laugh because I'm like, hey, how can I sort this? So we're gonna just do this fun little bit here. Prepare for laughter here in a second. Enumerable. Actually, I'm just gonna var this thing. Who am I kidding? Alright, so we're just going to order it by that and then take... what happens if you try to take and you don't have the right amount, if you have fewer than that? Insert channel name here. Does it fail if you try to take and you don't have that many? Yeah, random order every time, Magnus. So we get a set. So we get a random set of 5. I'm gonna do a quick test of that because you might be right. So I wonder if there's a nice way that we could pass that to our list. But yeah, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna add a class right in the root real quickly so that we can just give that a quick test. So we're gonna say scratch testing. So this is like our scratch pad where we're gonna just kind of mess around with stuff. And it's not actually going to have anything all that important in it, so we're going to make a quick fact in XUnit and do a public void take testing. This is just going to be our quick little method that's just going to let us try this. So we're going to make a new list of string, nope, int, easier, Brendan, let's go with the easier one. We're going to do ints, and we're going to do ints dot take 10, and then we don't want to have failed this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is a list that has 5 items. We're going to attempt to take 10 items out of it, and assert dot equal 5, and we're going to say, what did we call that? Enumerable count. Alright. Let's go ahead and run this and see what happens. I swear it's not rigged! Yeah, Janisku is correct there. I win too many of the rock, paper, scissors games for it to just be a coincidence. So, looks like it works perfectly. I can exceed the number and it is totally fine. There's no error thrown. So, confirmed. Or at least it looks that way. Streamers to shout. Streamer names. There we go. Huge shout out to the following streamers. And we are going to put them in here. Streamer names, but we actually don't want to do it this way. What we want to do is this. We did a huge shout out. We are combining this. We did a select of their name, but we don't want to select just on their name. We want to do this. We want to say https://www.twitch.tv/their name. We're going to buffer them with that. Actually, let's buffer the other side. Because I really want to make sure that on all ends we don't get too close and have any collisions there, so we don't want those links to get anything worse. Yes, LinkPad's actually very nice. To shout. Stream text. Streamers text. There we go. Okay. So that should shout them out. So this is do the shout out. So we're going to pull this out as a method, and we're going to say shout out streamers. And actually I'm going to say random streamers. We're going to do a shout out to random streamers when we do that. Yeah, LinkPad is actually a really awesome product. Man, it must be like a decade old by now. Now that I think about it. LinkPad's got to be at least a decade old. It's really nice, especially if you're going to do a lot of Link, and it's got some nice previews and other things like that. Let's see. So we pull that, we spit out the channel name in there, and then the last thing that we want to do is record the fact that we shouted them out. So let's do an update of the ones in our to shout. And I'm sure it's yelling at me because that's not a list. Which is fine, because I wanted to mess with it anyway, before we did that. So, to shout... that is hilarious. So for each one, we want to... For each one, we want to increase the time they were shouted out and update them. Yes, I know it's not thread safe, but still a nice tool to have in your tool belt. Yep. So yeah, that should be fine. This is not the ugliest code I've ever written. I've definitely written uglier code. I want to clean that up, but let's go ahead and do a couple of other things first. So before we clean this up, guys, I want to take a look at the... So before we do this, we need to actually get our migration in there, because we do have this data. But what we're not doing is putting this back into the database in any way yet. Despite the fact that we are calling the repository and doing all this work, we didn't actually write a migration for it. So, in order to make that happen, I am tempted to do this as a commit so that we can see the migration more clearly. So I'm going to commit this, not do a pull request yet, but commit this code. Adding... random streams, adding, yeah, this is Benric streams command, so you guys can see what I'm doing. I've got this over here that I am doing. And I am going to commit our little test because I don't see why we wouldn't have it in there. It's useful information that I'm going to look up again later. And I am going to push this for now, despite the fact that we're not actually going to do anything with it, because I trust the fact that I can nuke that off of GitHub at a later point if I need to. So the reason we did that is we are going to now jump over into the command line for EF Core. Now, I will tell you guys that I am absolutely not an expert in doing EF Core migrations. It is not actually a tool that I have been using for all that long, but it's also not supposed to be all that hard to use. So here's what we're going to do. So I am going to open up the command line over here where you guys can nicely see it inside of the package manager console, because what I should be able to do is add a migration, and what I'm going to call this migration, and we'll see if this works at all, and I think my shell is a PowerShell shell, but I don't remember 100%, so if I'm wrong about that, we're about to find out. So the migration that I want to add is going to be called streamer data. We'll just call it that for now. Now what I don't know is whether it's going to get confused because of the fact that we don't want to have our EF data inside of our main project. We have that pulled out into an EF project, And I am not 100% that it's going to find that. Now, we only have one data context, so we'll see what EF ends up finding. It should be running. It's doing something, that's for sure. Looking around and trying to figure things out. Okay, so, hey, that's something. Let's see what it did and take a look. Oh, the bot's running. Son of a gun. Whoops. Yeah, oh, stop backslash isn't a command? Thanks. Alright, so I think at the end of that it tried to do a build or something like that. Let's take a look again. Build failed, okay. No DB context was found in that assembly, so we need to specify where our DB context is. Check that DB context is... Alright, so here's what we're going to do. Using a separate project. So, add migration, and then we're going to specify that my project is over there. So that one is a project, and it is this one. Welcome, Japper2, maybe? Or that's Japper LL? Not sure which. Apologize if I messed up your name, but thank you for following. If I did mess it up, just tell me how I should be saying it. Okay, so looks like I just had to tell it which project had our stuff, and I think it found it. It found our migrations folder and added in the 2 files for that. Now, the annoying thing here is that LL it is. Okay, so Japerl, or is it Yaperl? What? Without knowing the root of that one, it's hard to say what a J is. That's one of the most fun letters in languages, is figuring out which one you actually meant there. Okay, so it sees some things that I did not expect to have changed, but it wants to change them. So, old annotation was a... Okay, so it's trying to alter my quote ID. It wants to drop the quote ID index and add that. So I'm not sure why it's trying to do these for now, so I'm actually planning on nuking these. So, which might be a crazy thing for me to do, but I'm going to do it. So we're going to pretend that it didn't add those for me, and I'm going to add those as a separate migration later. So that was that one, and then there's this one that it also created. And yes, I understand I'm altering auto-generated code, but it'll regenerate with the next pieces if I do that. So... Really? Build target model. Now I don't know how to get it to regenerate this piece. That'll be a tricky one. Maybe I should just let it do its thing. I'm not sure what it noticed on the other ones. I didn't actually look at them. Value generation strategy is that. Is identity column on our model builder. So maybe that's why it was adjusting that? Because it was saying that those would be fine? Old annotation, SQL Server value generation strategy is identity column. Old CLR type, type of int. Yeah, I'm gonna drop those. Not sure what they're doing. Which 2 were they messing with? Let me take a look again just so I don't forget. That is my index So these are the two quote things. They're the two pieces on quote ID. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab the old one for quote, and I'm going to put them right over top of the new one. So quote ID on down. We're actually just going to grab the whole section for quote ID and reapply it. Yes, I'm aware that this is dangerous, but I don't know what it's doing, and I don't want to let it do it right now. So is it just the addition of the index? Maybe I needed to do a value generated on add on that. But I don't know where that one came from. So, okay. We're going to do that for now. And I think that is going to work. Yeah, Magnus, I jumped into the package manager console because it works. It has all the... It's automatically going to have all the pieces that we need. It's going to have... inside the path, we're going to be able to do all the migration stuff. So, why not? That console worked just fine for me, didn't it? And that's the main thing, is having a console that is actually going to do what you need it to do. Okay, so that is the snapshot one. What did this one do? Moved that. Great. Thanks for moving that below the other one. That made a huge difference. Alright, I have a feeling it messed with quote entity. What did you do with quote entity? I know you did something with it. Quote entity. Added by quote ID, has that text ID, quote ID, has index. I guarantee it nuked has index, that piece of crap. Yeah, totally did. Jerk. I knew it. I knew it. Did nuke my index, because of course it did. Alright, so now that should be back the way I wanted it before, because that would have been the only change. Okay. But what that does tell me is that I need to go and make another migration at some point and actually do that migration that it's missing. So I now know that we are missing a migration. I've had some model changes that it doesn't like and that it wants to make some changes based on. So that means I need to go modify our model classes and adjust them so that they produce the SQL that I want them to when we do a migration. So that I don't have to do what I just did ever again. Okay, so adding migration for... Well, I don't want to commit that yet. Let's go ahead and run it. And we'll see what it does. And in order to not run into any problems, we may run into problems anyway, what I'm going to do is go in here, and I am going to just change our connection string to the database for a second. We're going to call this devcheddarbot test1. So that should be enough to tell the bot to create its database, to make a copy of the database. Essentially, it's going to do a new one. So we're going to create that database instead of using the one that we'd been using before, so I don't nuke my local database, which I like. So this bot is not actually going to have our data or our commands, so we're temporarily going to run one that we're not actually doing anything with, and we'll see what it is. Magnus, stupid questions don't usually exist, just for the record. Alright, let's see what we got. Databases. There's test 1. Tables. Streamers. Nice. Bot didn't blow up or anything, did it? No. Okay, cool. Let's see what's in here. Channel name. Okay. That's not terrible. That's not terrible. Oh, sorry, I just I just turned the bot off. But I can turn it back on again and we can try streams. Here, we'll give it a shot in this mode, and I'll go ahead and I'll attempt to add a stream. So it's in here. Whoops. And we need to report back when it succeeds on that. If that didn't bomb, it didn't. Okay, so those might be in there now. Yes, I will definitely need a remove. Welcome, Trafalgar Lawu? I know I messed that one up. There's no way I got that name right. I apologize in advance because I definitely got it wrong. Okay, so we're not actually doing. Oh, duh. Hang on, we're not running it. That's why. Okay, let's go ahead and do a couple of things then before we get to that. First off, it looks like that code works. It seemed to create the thing we wanted and didn't mess with anything else in some weird way. Oh, actually, before we do that, let me do one last thing, guys. We're going to run it one more time. The bot's going to come back in because I want to do this. I want to attempt to pull a quote out of the database. So, okay. Alright, we can pull quotes. That's all I wanted to check, is because it was specifically messing with the quote database entries, and so that's why I wanted to look at that one. Stop it. Alright, so we added a migration, and I am not going to commit that change. So add we're going to add a streamer migration entity. Yeah, a streamer entity migration. Those are the words. Okay, so now what we need to do is make it so that that actually runs. So first things first, we're going to duplicate this one. We're going to say streams command, and it's going to take in the repository. Close that. And before we run it, we're going to open up the streams command in add at the end. We actually did the creation, and we didn't report back anything, so even though it wasn't running, we got the behavior we'd expect when it was. Let's see, added to our list of streams. Thanks. Okay, so added channel name to our list of streams. Thanks to the person that put it in there. So we will need to do a remove, and we need to also do some other things like preventing duplicates. So Trafalgar Lawu, that is the Git desktop, I should say the GitHub desktop Git client. And the reason we're using that one is because I want to use a graphical one, which will make it easier for people to see the diff comparison, including me. And we're primarily using that for just basic committing. But anything more than that we're doing, we do jump to the command line. So hopefully you're somewhat comfortable in that. And if you're not, you might learn something about Git when we ever do need to go to the command line for things. The reason I'm using the Git desktop one is because I don't use it for anything else. So I set up a lot of sample code. So for example, I'm doing a talk this Friday at a conference, and I don't want to have lists, all the other Git repositories that I use for connecting to other sample repositories and things like that. So by using a separate client, you guys don't get the clutter of that, and we see only the dev chatter Git repos listed. So now that should run, and let's go ahead and give this a run. If you have no streamers in the database, the message won't make sense. I agree. We should say if that is empty, then just handle the empty case. To shout. So I'm going to put these in here. And then in my else, say, add some streamers using the before calling this. All right, cool. Thank you for the suggestion there. We were going to have some ridiculousness there. So my talk this Friday, Trafalgar, is actually on C#. I'll say it's really a C# talk. It's a derivation of one that I've been giving for years. So the talk that I usually give is basically all the cool stuff in C# that you haven't been using that's relatively recent. So for a couple of years now, I've been doing talks that were on C# 5 and 6, and then C# 6 and 7, and now I do a quick highlight of the things in C# 6 and 7, as well as the features that are in 7.1 and 7.2. As soon as C# 8 drops, I'll be doing the same thing, and the reason that I give that talk is that most developers tend to not use a lot of the features that are available, which create interesting things, and when I say most developers, I mean hilariously, Scott Hanselman was recently doing some live stuff and was surprised by new features that existed in C#. Additionally, yesterday, I believe it was, he was doing a presentation, and apparently the guest that was on C# Fritz's stream this morning, who is also a Microsoft employee, was watching Scott Hanselman do his presentation and noticed, oh, there are, it's like, that code's not going to work, is kind of what he was thinking. He mentioned that this morning in Fritz's stream, and Shane did, and he's a Microsoft employee, and then the code compiles and works, and he's like, oh, that's a new feature in C#. It's like, yes it is. The feature he was looking at was auto property initialization, which has actually been in C# since version 6. And that's why I do this presentation, is because there are a lot of features that people don't know about that are in C# that they could already be using. So can it be watched online? I don't believe that the conference is doing it online, although I appear at a bunch of so probably doesn't help because I'm guessing Europe for most of you guys. So I don't often get to Europe, but I will make sure that I make it public when I am there. I do most of my talks in the Midwestern region of the United States, so it's actually a fairly broad area, but I don't know which ones are going to be online of talks that I'm doing soon. I do actually, so I don't want to like self-promote a whole bunch, but I do actual like paid training courses that are on deviq.com, and I think I do have a link down below if you guys want to check that out. And at some point I should, just because people do mention it from time to time, I should actually get a discount for like some kind of discount code for anybody that actually watches Dev Chatter, so that you guys can not pay full price for my courses there. So anyway, this code should work now. I'm going to go ahead and give it a run because the bot's not currently running. And I did look before I said that. Alright, so let's take a look. And if there ever are conferences that you want me to get to that are out of the country, say in Europe, go ahead and send me the link to them, let me know, and when they're doing their call for proposals, I will take a look and see what's there. That might be case sensitive, I'm not actually sure. So add some streamers before calling this, so that's what we were expecting. Let's see, we'll add me. Why didn't that add that? Did I make add lowercase? I might have. Streamers, add Brandonius. Yeah, I did make it lowercase. Oh, streams. Duh. Thank you. Helps if I don't mess that up, huh? Streams, add C# Fritz. So now, if we call streams, should pull those. And are these links that work? Yep, those are actual links that work. Cool. So I don't want to add them all in right here because you'll remember we're not using our final database, so this data is just going to disappear. But what I am going to do is this. I'm going to add in a bunch of other ones really quickly by just doing this. And so now when I do streams, it should choose a random set, and looks like it did. That looks like a random set and it didn't choose me, you piece of... Let's try that again. There we go! Hey, that worked. Alright, cool. So you'll notice that it comes back with a random set each time, varying order. All those links seem to work. So I would call that a working feature. So what I'm going to do is commit this and then get rid of that. So let's discard that change. And then we're going to stop the bot. Sorry, guys. Nice try, Wheelspin. Nice try. I don't have a command. Alright, so this is wire up the streams command. That's what this one is. And then this change is add no streams and confirm messages. Okay. Alright, we're going to send those up. The couple of other things I want to do really quickly is make that not case sensitive, and our settings should be fixed, so we should be pointed back at our real database again, so we're going to find out how our migration actually worked. Because you got to remember, we did a full migration up from nothing to a working database, and that worked fine. But what we haven't done is started from an existing database that didn't have all those pieces. Thanks, Wheelspin. Come on, man, that's not gonna work. You can't do that to me. I'm not, you know. We don't want to do that one. We want to do, what is it? Say string.compare. I really need to make a an actual nice equality compare on this. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually just going to go back to this because I'm just going to to-lower that thing and do that. What's that want to do? What? Oh, pfft. Durr. Thanks, thing. Alright, so that's fine, because that could have been null. Case insensitive add. Alright, anything else we want to do on this one? I think it's good, as is for now. Needs to get cleaned up in a bunch of ways, so, I mean, we could do all kinds of little cleanup things like this. We could make this a constant and be like, max streams to shout out. We're going to cut that shorter. That's way too long. Max streams. Okay, so we have that. And a lot of these other pieces could be a little nicer than they are, but they work. Alright. Let's commit that again. Extract that as a constant, and let's go ahead and push those up. And let's take a look. What is next, guys? What is next? We're done with that piece. Let's go ahead and give this a shot. So we should not be pointed at this anymore. I'll probably nuke that in a minute, just to be sure. I could do a string equals. I could do a bunch of different things, actually. Alright. Let's go ahead and give this a shot. Streams. Should be none in there. Whoops. Sorry, streams. Streams. Add C# Fritz. And if we do streams now, works just fine, even with our take 5. Huge shout out to the following streamers. Streams, add, who do we want to add? How about, Fierce Kittens? So, streams. There we go. Okay, so those work. How did what not fail? You don't have the rights to add. You have to be a mod to add, although I'm actually confused why it's not yelling at you now that I think about it. Yeah, why aren't you guys getting a response? That's a good question. You should be getting a response. Let's take a look, guys. Let's take a look. Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. All right, so role required is everyone. So, you are correct. We could do... We could do an equals, and we could just do an ignore case on this. Sorry, brain work. Because it's a nullable Boolean. So we're going to do argument 1 not equal null, and there we go. We'll just do that. What are we doing? That was not a Latin capital L, it was Cyrillic. Oh, thanks. Yeah. Oh, man. You guys are terrible trying to mess with that stuff. Yeah, it's not turned on right now, Janisco. And yes, this probably is going to be an adjustment to how we do our shout-out like that, Janisco. So I think both of them are going to work. Yeah. Look, this is an English-speaking bot. English-speaking for now. If you wanna add more stuff, you are welcome to add more stuff to it. It is all open source and out on GitHub. Okay, so when this gets called, so everyone should have access. You should come in here. We should go to Add New. When you get down to Add New, it should come down here. It should say, if you're not this, it should respond back with that. Alright, we're going to see what it does. So Janisku is correct. We also have a shoutout command that does a random set from the channels that we follow on DevChatter. But now, whoops, streams. We really need to make that case insensitive. Streams add. Someone else try to add. I want to see if it gives us that response. So make sure you get all your casing right there, Magnus, and let's see what we get. Hang on. Let me see what streams we want to add. Because we just need to take a look at who DevChatter is following. And that is a pre-curated list of channels we want to give shoutouts to. So, NoopCat, or as I often say, NoopCat. Oh, there, hey, we got it. You aren't allowed to add new streamers, Magnus. See, Magnus, I told you that message was written specifically for you, and we could have just put your name on it. Thanks, Wheelspin. Putting in some great effort there. Alright, so here's what we're gonna do. Add command. Okay. Before I do that, let me take a look at this. So this is allow case insensitive add argument. Add that in there. Push that up. One thing I want to do real quickly here, guys. So we have this add command, and so what I want to do is I want to add a Magnus command, and then the next parameter is going to be the so argument 1 is so that is the command text, static response, and then the role. Okay, so stop trying to break stuff. And everyone. Alright, Magnus. Let's see if... Oh, dang it, right. Okay, hang on. Sorry, guys. There is a task in the backlog to make that work. Give me 1 second. Restart the bot. What we don't do is modify the existing list because we're not pulling that from the add ban. Wheel spin. There we go. Stop trying to break stuff. That is case sensitive, wheel spin. Alright, there you go. Congratulations, Magnus. You now have a command. See, there you go. You're famous, Magnus. Yeah, good job, Wheelspin. You keep trying on that one. Alright, so here's what we're gonna do. We are going to DevChatter, for example, maybe other C# streams, Twitch by promoting other streamers. This is exactly what we wanted to do. We want to do a pull request associated with number 45. Let's do a pull request from the streams command. We're going to create a pull request, adding a streams command. And we said that was number 49? No. Streams command. There we go, 45. This will resolve issue number 45 by adding in a streams command. Yeah, so you can add any extra parameters you want there. Yeah, Wheelspin also tries to break stuff. Alright, so we're going to create that pull request. So what did we do? We did a rename of the triggering client to be chat client because we think that's much nicer. And that was just a bit of cleanup that's coming in with this. We added a streams command, and that's our streams command. Can user run we adjusted so you can check against either a command or the role. We added a new data entity that sets that value when you create a new one. Streamers, I am not going to pull up that file. Change those. Add the streams command to the set of commands we run, and added that, which I'm okay with. Alright, let's go ahead and merge that in. I love how you guys just keep trying. You're like, there's something to break in here somewhere. And I'm sure there is, guys. The surface area on this bot is constantly increasing, so there's somewhere you're going to find an attack vector to actually hit it. Okay, so that should wire up the streams command. We just associated with it. I'm going to go ahead and close this one, because I think that we did it. And I think this one is resolved now. Tell me if you need to add more. It's there. Close and comment. If I have to reopen it, I will reopen it. But for now, I'm clearing it out of the list. Wheelspin, I don't know what you're trying to do either. Okay, so we have. I just want to figure out what amount of time we have so we can figure out what we want to get working on here, because there are a handful of other things we could do. We could try figuring out cooldowns on the command. So that would be an interesting one to do. Let's see. We also could add a bunch of safeties, so let's do a little bit of cleanup here. I want to go to the command handler, because this is actually what runs our commands, and I don't want our bot to fail just because a command fails. I think that's silly. What's up, Wheelspin? What's the oh boy on? This code's not all that great, I know, if that's what you're talking about. Handler, sender is ship back is chat. Bot command first or default. So let's see, attempt to run command. Just to make it so we're not quite so far over to the right, we're going to go ahead and extract that as a method. And what we're going to do is wrap this in a try-catch block, because I don't want an attempt to run a command to ever cause the bot to fail. So, console dot write line exception command receiver event arg 0. I want to start our own bots to connect here and run everything. Yeah, thanks, Magnus. Talk about getting your bots banned. Alright. Can use a run command. That actually looks like it's going to make that a little nicer. So we're going to print out the message, but it's not going to crash. Appreciate it, Wheelspin. I do like our community, though. You guys are fun. Okay, so that is... Seriously, though, guys, if you are interested in getting better at C#, if you guys are wanting to run more C# code, just go ahead and hop on GitHub, take a look at our code, and go ahead and get us a pull request. Thank you for the lurk, Greendolf. Much appreciated. Let's see. A crash to say, sorry, something bad happened. Have a quote instead. Oh, I like that. That is a nice idea. I think that's kind of a cool one. So, except I want to be careful because I don't want that to bomb in here. It's always dangerous to have an exception here. Why don't we add that as a feature request? When bad things happen, show a quote instead. Add a feature to display a quote in chat instead of a failed, whenever a command fails. Idea from there you go. Yes, exactly. You got to make sure that it doesn't take out the bot, which is why I'm not putting it in there just yet. Because I don't want to put in the code where I'm carefully making sure we don't bomb the bot right now. That seems like a task that is not for this moment. Okay, let's go ahead and jump on to another one of these tasks. So I thought that was a nice change there. What else do we have? Yeah, we need to get to that. Make commands be case insensitive. Oh, that's something I want to save for someone else, actually. And that is an enhancement. I do want to get to quiz questions at some point. I also want to add cooldowns. Additional information allows you to add basic error logging, clear dependency injection, connect to Discord. Models should wire themselves up. Oh, I think we do this one. We do this one. Closing. Blackjack, Uno, Hangman. Okay, all right, guys. All right. Let's talk games then. Why don't we add some items to our list of issues then for new games that we actually want to see. That is hilarious that it kept that in there. Yes, there is a commands command. So there's that, which you can run also. There's not a help commands yet. So commands doesn't have a help argument that you can pass. And look, guys, Magnus is actually included in that list. Isn't that awesome? Yep, it is actually one of the included commands. That's why I said, like, our commands is really, really, you know, good. Wheelspin's not giving up. Alright, so what games did you guys say? Blackjack and Uno. That's hard. Hangman we could do. Add Hangman game. Add a Hangman game. Here's what I'm thinking, guys. I'm thinking this. Hangman starts a new game. Guesses A. What do you guys think about that? Let's see. Hangman would be awesome, but let the stream owner set up the word. So what I was thinking, Wheelspin, is that we have the Hangman game choose from a random set of words that the streamer sets up. I guess we could have it... hang on. That'd be funny. Just go out to some service. Oh, here we go. The 25 best Hangman words. Yeah, we could go out to some external service using a random word from internal list or internet. So I think that'd be a good one. So we'll add a Hangman game. Our next issue, add, we already have our quiz game that we're planning on doing. What other games do you guys want to do? Wheelspin. Whoever gets it first wins or something, that's good too. I really want to start streaming and make interactive games with my viewers. You are welcome to do that, Wheelspin. I would say the big thing is just start. So they shouldn't be too hard. The question, do we give time limit on Hangman? I'm not sure. Hey, Kid Fundamentals, welcome. What are some other ones that we could play? You guys got any other ideas for games that we could play on here? Yep. Limit the number of guesses per chat user. That would be an interesting way of doing that. Here's what I'm going to do for now. Let's go ahead and make sure that we are all stable and committed on everything. We already merged that in, so we want to be over here. We're going to go ahead and fetch... which should have fast forwarded. Head and tails, just a coin. Oh, we could just do a coin flip game. Tic-tac-toe. Ooh, tic-tac-toe would be weird. I'm not sure how to do that one. And Wheelspin, if we limit the number of answers, I wouldn't want to do it per minute, because that'd take a while, actually. And yes, Magnus, I think we're eventually going to have to split by chat room if we do connect to multiple chats at the same time. We're going to have to do that for a lot of things, so that's going to be a cross-cutting concern that we're going to hit all over the place. Why don't we make a Hangman game? So we'll make Hangman game. And the first thing we're going to do is try catch around command processing. Which, yes, I'm aware has nothing to do with Hangman. But I don't want to give it its own pull request. Alright. We'll start this. Or 1 minute, yeah, 30 seconds, yeah. So I'm figuring probably adjustable, but setting it to 30 seconds for now in a constant. And then that kind of does feel like doing a cooldown on the guessing command. And yes, I agree, Black Elvis. I think tic-tac-toe, while it would be fun, might spam chat a little bit too much because it'd have to display the board somehow. Yeah. Did I win? Should make a room just for me and Wheelspin and call it Break Code Game. Alright, so in our games folder, we're going to make a new folder. We're going to call this one Hangman. And inside of Hangman, I want to create a new class, call it Hangman Game. And this is going to actually track our game, kind of like our rock, paper, scissors game tracks our game. So it'll have things like private const int, guess time limit. Maybe guess delay in seconds. Guess wait in seconds. Okay, so something like that. It's going to need access to the currency system and the automated action system, almost guaranteed. I can't imagine we won't need those. In fact, I'm betting most games are going to need those. So that might be something that just games end up getting automatically. We're probably going to have an isGame running bool just for convenience, despite the fact that that could probably be calculated. And then we are going to need things like endgame and actions for other stuff like that, but we'll figure that out in a second. So, we're going to add a constructor for the Hangman game. It is going to take in currency generator in one of those. The isGame running. Where did we set that initially in here? It's always going to default to false until we actually start a game. So, what we're going to do is we're going to make a Hangman command. Hangman command, which is actually going to be like a Hangman command, that's fine. And this is going to be a simple command. What are you guys saying in chat? Anything I care about? Like something I should do something about and read? Or are you guys just chatting? Did I win? Should make room for me to play Hangman. You need to first request a letter, then guess the word. Okay, so... Oh, right, you're right. You need to have a guess. Okay, so here's going to be the difference. So Wheelspin, instead of doing it as ask and guess, because I don't want to overlap with too many other games, we're going to do it like this. So I'm going to tweak our rules here. You are totally right. We do need to change this. So what we're going to do is, that is guesses the letter A, and this is, so ask if A is in the word, and Hangman Apple guesses the word is apple. So that's what I'm thinking there. Basically, if you guessed a single letter, we think you're guessing that letter. If you guess more than one letter, then that is your guess for what you think it is. And how about if we do each one of those, you're allowed one per. So I'm going to say command text equals Hangman. Roll, we're going to be explicit and say that everyone can do it. There is no automatic response. And and we need an argument 1. Whoops, not command word, arguments. Question mark dot and question mark first or default. So that'll be argument 1. If string dot is null or white space argument 1, then that is attempting to start game. Else, if string dot is null or white space, so this is argument 1 dot count length equals 1. Guessing a letter. What? What? I disagree. How could that be null? Am I crazy? Could that possibly be null? I don't think that can be null. So this is asking about a letter. That's asking about a letter, and that's guessing the word. Okay, so we'll do attempt to start game. We'll pass in the chat client and the user for that one. That seems to make sense to me. Chat user, there we go. We also need to know which letters already have been asked for. We will need to record that, but we're not going to care until we get to this point. Ask about letter. And again, in this one, we want to pass in argument 1 and event args dot chat user, I think, again. So maybe what we should do is just extract chat user as our user, just for convenience sake. Looks a little nicer. I guess we'll do that, despite the fact that if event args is null, we're in bigger trouble. So we're going to ask about a letter. So letter to ask. And then in the final one, we're going to do guess word. And this one's going to take in argument 1 and the chat user. That's our guess. That's the chat user. Okay. So most of these pieces, I actually think we want to have be on Hangman, the game, and not on the command. I was thinking about only the streamer be able to start the game. You could limit it, Wheelspin. So why don't we do this? We'll make it configurable, which means for now, we can lock it down as part of... so we're passing in the chat user, so we'll put it in the game. It'll be one of the constants up here, and a lot of these constants are just here for now to tell us that later on we are going to need to make this configurable. Role required to start, which actually that should have been initialize the constant to streamer for now. But I think I might do it as subscriber, so we'll allow a subscriber to start the game, which I think actually makes a lot of sense, don't you, Wheelspin? So if we restrict it down to that, So then here's what I'm thinking. I'm actually thinking that we want to move this into the game itself. Because we knew going in that we were going to need to have access to the game here. So we're going to have the Hangman game here. And yes, I know they're all private, that's why we're getting the red underline. Whoops. When we jump back to the game, we can just change these from private to public. Technically we can make them internal, but I kind of feel like at some point we need to get these tested. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to write some tests on the Hangman game. We're going to build it the correct way. So we're going to make a folder for games, and then inside of games we're going to make a folder for Hangman game. Actually, we're going to make Hangman, and then Hangman game tests. Don't kill me, please. Class is going to be this is going to get interesting, actually. I'm not sure how well we can handle this right now. Yeah, that's going to be harder than I think. Oh man, alright, I'm not doing this today. I'm going to have to do that later. I'm going to have to add tests to this thing, and it's going to be not pretty because I just noticed I did something I should have done. So I apologize, guys. I'm going to have to fix that, which we're going to want to do at the start of a stream. So, first things first. We want to do a if game is running. So if the game is not running, we want to do a quick thing in return, right? So we're going to do this. If game is not running, we're going to say, I didn't pass the chat client in. That was foolish, Brendan. That was foolish. Okay, so chat client guess and chat user. We're going to say chat client send message. This is going to be a method. Game not started message. Chat user. There we go. Okay. What is this? Write something to the chat client. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yep, you got it. That is exactly what I'm doing. We are going to write to the chat client if we didn't get this. I'm actually going to put this down at the bottom. So, if the game is not running, then do that. And the message we want to send out to the chat client is send message. There is no Hangman game running. Let's get that in there, and then say this chat user. User, come on, man! Autocomplete the right thing for me. There's no Hangman game running. Okay. So we're going to put this as the first thing that happens in each one of those. And in this one, send game already started message. Game is already running. Chat client dot send message. There is already a Hangman game running. Chat user dot display name. And this I'm going to replace with a name of. Ooh, that'd be funny. Already a Hangman game running. That's not super pretty because it doesn't put that in there, but hey, I like it. Because it's funny. There's already a game running. Feel free to join. Ooh. There's already a game running. Display name. Use. What's our command? Hangman. What's a nice symbol for a letter? Hangman, there's already a game running. Feel free to join. Yeah, I guess I could. I just don't want someone... You know what? I'm going to put it in quotes. Because if they put it in quotes, then that's fine. Hangman. Okay, so use the Hangman... Oh, use Hangman letter to guess a letter, or Hangman word. Whoops. Okay, there's no Hangman game running. That's good enough there. I'd tell you to start one, but hopefully you could figure out that you needed to start one. Okay, so that'll block those. So then what we want to do is start a game. Yeah, I know I should probably lock around that, but I'm not going to just yet. Why don't I just do... Yeah, we'll put that back, and then I'm going to say chat client dot totally starting this game. Chat client, send message. You are guessing a letter. And then up here, chat client, send message. You are guessing the word. Okay. Yeah, I could wheel spin, do letter and word, but the problem is that if we do anything else that needs letter and word commands, I don't want to have used up root level commands, so I want everything to be under Hangman. And I figure under Hangman, I can intuit what you intended on those. if you've got a better way for me to do that, I'm all ears. I really don't believe that I can null ref on that. I just don't think I can. Why does it not understand is null or white space? True, and I might shorten that. Maybe I'll change it to, like, you know, HM or something. It's a good point. It is a very long word. So we might shorten it. Whoops, exit. There we go. Let's go ahead and add the hangman command to our setup bot. So, rock, paper, scissors. We are going to add our hangman command. And it needs to get a hangman game. Equals new hangman game, which is going to take in the currency generator and the automated action system. Even though it's not using those yet, we know it will. Okay, and now we should be able to run this. Yeah, Resharper doesn't seem to see the null check there, Magnus. Which is kind of weird. Hey, Smart ASCII, welcome. We're writing some C# code, doing our bot. How's it going? Let's take a look. So, hangman. Totally starting this game. Hangman A. By the way, when you guess the word correctly, you can win some currency or something. Yeah, that is exactly the idea, Willspin. I'm guessing a letter, that's correct. Hangman word. Thanks, Japper. Yeah, Japperl, yeah, there we go. Guessing a number. Troll. Appreciate that. Okay, so that's definitely working there. Yeah, so we're just setting up the basic structure of this. Thanks, Wheelspin. Letter is a word. That's true. Okay, so we got that running, and we now need to actually make this do something. So this needs to trigger an event when we start it. So we need to make a new automated event that can, actually, no, when you guess the word, if you got it. Okay, so here's what we're going to do for now, guys. I'm going to just hard code in the word. So congratulations. The password is... Alright guys, now don't pay attention while I type in my password here. Don't look. Don't look, guys. Don't look. Don't look. Oh man. Super secret. Super secret. Alright. So you are guessing a word. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is say if guess equals our word, there we go. Also allow only one game to be run at the same time. Yeah, so Wheelspin, we are keeping only one game running at the same time for the most part. I didn't lock around it yet, but we're going to add those, don't worry. So if they're equal, then we are going to set the game running to false, and we're going to award the winner. But for now, that just means sending out a message and saying, congratulations, chat, no, not chat client, chat user. Come on, man. Don't give me that. Alright, otherwise... that is not the word. And in here we're going to say chat user dot display name. You guys are saying all kinds of stuff in chat. Alright, so what do we got? Oh, you guys are playing rock, paper, scissors. No wonder there's all kinds of stuff showing up in chat. Rock, paper, scissors, rock, paper, scissors, hangman, rock, paper, scissors. Agnes, stop trying to break stuff. Alright, that is not the word. Okay. So now, let's go ahead and give that a test. Sorry guys, you're not going to get to play your rock, paper, scissors game because I'm mean. Look at that, I stopped the bot. I know, I'm a terrible person. Sorry. Don't get mad. Alright guys. Bot's now in here again. We're going to go ahead and... There we go. Hey! Thank you, Smartasky. Thank you for the cheer. Speaking of which, I need to... not the word. Much appreciated. Thank you for the biddies. I do need to build in some biddy responses into the bot, Smartasky. Because we are building it on stream. So that is not the word, but hang on guys, hang on. So we do hangman, and it says there's already a game running, and it says I should be able to guess a letter. Hey, thank you, Wheelspin. Hangman password. Oh, there you go, you win! How did you know that the password was password? Sorry, Janisku, there's no game of hangman running. But you confirmed that that's what happens. Okay, so looks like that works. So you can now guess the word password. So thank you very much for the biddies, guys. Hopefully everybody is having a fun time making this stuff work. And yes, you can play rock, paper, scissors while we get this next piece going. So the nice part is that means that we're able to get all those pieces working. Hey, thank you for the follow, Galandra. Much appreciated. And I apologize, I always butcher names the first time I try them, or at least I try to get close. Can you show bot stuff on screen? You mean this? Wheelspin, what do you want to see about the bot on screen? Because I can show a lot of bot stuff on screen. Not sure what you mean, but let me know what you want to see on screen and I will show you. And there's the bot also chiming in and thanking you for following. So we're going to guess a letter. So the first thing that we want to check is guessed letters contains letter to ask underscore guessed letters. So we're going to create this, which is going to be, hilariously, a list of letters, and not actually a string, even though they're basically the same thing. List of string, guessed letters. Hey, thank you for following. I can't pronounce that, because it's not in English, but hey, welcome. Much appreciated. So our guest letters is going to be empty for now. And actually, why did I not get the underscore at the beginning of that? We're going to make that read-only. And what we are going to do is, there we go, we're going to check and see if it contains it. If it does, we are going to probably yell at you and move on. So chat client, send message. We're going to say that letter has already been guessed. Chat user dot display name. Actually, I'm not sure if it's going to crash on that, but that's a good question. The letter has already... letter to ask has already been guessed. Okay. Next thing that I want to ask about is, so that's if it's already in the list. Next thing I want to say, password contains our letter to ask. Then we want to say, we want to do something, which for now I'm just going to say, this is not correct. Yep. Letter to ask is in here. Wouldn't it be more useful if I showed you where? I'm waiting for people to laugh in the chat about my useless message. Oh man, no. Letter to ask is not in the word. And then either way, guest letters, we're going to add the letter to ask. Okay, so what was happening while I was doing that? That is not a word. Nice, nice. Hey, thank you. Much appreciated. I do like my glasses. Let's see. You're guessing a letter. Magnus Hangman 5. Yeah. Hang on. I'll rerun the new one, guys. It'll be a little nicer. We're gonna get more stuff in here. Wouldn't it be nicer if it did that word? All right. So I'm gonna stop the bot, and we're gonna get the new version of Hangman running. So, and you guys get to see the bot refresh like that long before it actually is up there. Hangman. There you go. Totally starting this game. Now you guys can start guessing letters. So that is all guessed letters. But I want to also have... so that is the password, and the okay. So I'm going to convert password, so it's a constant right now. But what I want to do is this. I'm going to make it a property instead. So we're going to make it a property. We're going to call it password. And here's why I'm going to make it a property. So we're going to do public string masked password, which I'm not sure what we're going to do with just yet. So this is going to return password where actually we're going to do a select. Okay guys, this is going to be insane. We send as lowercase, or can it be uppercase too? It should allow it to be lowercase, but if it's not, we're going to fix that. So, that is not the way. Yeah, everybody knows what the password is. Hey, Fierce Kittens, welcome. You are on our shout-out list. Maybe we'll randomly pick you if it's running. No, that was me. Hang on, let's try another one. Hey! Only took 2 tries. Fierce Kittens is another streamer that does programming stuff sometimes. Other creative things as well. Gaming, I believe, too. We actually had another streamer in here a bit ago, SmartAsky, who I believe is a programmer by trade, but does streaming as a Twitch streamer. Alright guys, I'm going to do something crazy here. Please don't do this at home. If guest letters contains our letter, then we're going to do X. Otherwise, we're going to do that. Between no explicit conversion exists between characters or string. Whoops. Okay, so that should get us that. Contains. Oh, that's toString, I think. And then this should be a list of those, and then we toString it. This is the scariest thing you guys have ever seen me write. You thought that you thought this is what I was gonna do, SmartAsky? That's pretty good. Oh, hey, that's funny. Yeah, Fierce Kittens is the one we actually pulled off the list to put in there. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so that's our masked password. So actually, now that I think about it, I could just use this one. I don't need to change that just yet. So yeah, that's a horrible thing. I did a bad thing. That won't work. Do I need to new string it? Password dot select. I need to new string that? Yeah, but I can't toString. Oh, you're right. That's gonna. Yep. Nope, you're correct. Sorry. You are 100% correct. I do need to change that. Thank you. We would have found that a moment when it spit out the wrong thing. But I can toArray that? I think I have to toArray that. But that's fine. That is not the worst thing. So that should mask our password. So let's go ahead and do this. So there's a couple of things I still need to put in here. That's already been guessed. It's not in the word. Yep, that's in here. So I'm going to move this above this so that our masked password feature works after this point. Whoops, let's fix that. And so now we're going to say let's put it in here. We're just going to say masked password right there. Is in here. And then we're going to spit out the masked password. So the other thing that I have to do is when you guess correctly, we need to actually do a reset of things. So right now I just set it to false. So I'm going to make a method here, and we're going to call this reset game. It's going to do and is running false, but it's also going to do guessed letters clear. And that, I think, is what we need to do right now. So what is in here? That won't work. New string. You can make the bot answer privately. Oh, I could wheel spin. I could have it whisper to the people, but I think that might get a little bit weird. I like the idea that everybody's sort of playing together, and if you have that time limit, it might actually make you sit there and go, ooh, I want to know if that's an A or an E before I guess, or something like that. And then you might not want to be the one that does it because someone else might be faster than you are. So SmartAsky, we are actually using the TwitchLib library, and we've actually had some of the maintainers of the TwitchLib open source library actually show up and talk to us about it in chat. I'm hoping to get them here more regularly. But yeah, I don't really want to do whispering only because not everybody's going to want it to whisper back to them. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. Like this, though, everyone. So I will go ahead and run this, and we'll see what it does. Maybe it'll blow up, maybe it'll work. Who knows? That's why we're trying it. Yeah, so Fierce Kittens, they are actually maintaining TwitchLib, and TwitchLib is both on NuGet and it is also on GitHub, and they are updating it to work with the Helix API, so that is getting added in there. We're mostly using the V5 API right now, so we'll see where they go with that. One of the reasons we didn't switch to it is because, as far as I know, Helix is not yet fully a superset of V5, and so I was just like, let's just stick with V5 for now, and then once the TwitchLib people say, hey, yeah, you know, it's a superset and we're good, then we'll go ahead and switch to it. So let me go ahead and start a game of Hangman going. Totally starting this game. So now take some guesses. Hey, look at that! Look at that! Nice. Okay. So, looks like the mask is working. Hangman A. Whoops. There we go. And hang on. Hangman A. Oh, A has already been guessed. Whoops. Stupid me. Yeah. We probably have casing problems right now. Don't worry, we'll fix it. We'll fix it. We're just getting this working right now, guys. We're just getting this working, everybody. We have awesome people in here. You are all doing very well. Alright, so let's make sure that that word is the correct one. So we did a contains. Whatever letter you are asking about. Oh, Janisku, how did you guess that it was password? You're brilliant! Okay, so I've never played with any Twitch API stuff, but you're really making me want to toy with it when I get out. Yeah, it's actually pretty fun. We've been building all kinds of stuff in this. So, for example, my shoutout command, what it actually does, and there's a shout out to, well, I say Noopcat, but it's NoopCat, and but Noopcat sounds more fun. So the shout out command is actually going and grabbing the followers, the follows list of the DevChatter channel, and it's going and looking at who DevChatter is following, and it does a shout out for one of them randomly. I can also just do a shout out individually, so I could do a shout out of SmartASCII, and it will give you a shout out there. We also need to talk to the API to get the most recent game that someone's been playing. So that is one other thing that we want to look at. Something else that I want to check. It still says I'm doing... Okay, well, we'll see. Well, the word was not masked anymore. Wait, hang on. Hangman. Totally starting... Oh, right. So, Wheelspin, the bot is not currently doing any text file saving. It used to, actually. So, definitely something we can add in there. But no, we're not currently keeping any logs. And there's actually, that's one of our issues on the list, is actually adding some logging. So we do want to put in some logging at some point, probably file logging, but again, there's a lot of things in our backlog that we need to get to. Okay, so we're now printing out the word that we're going to do, and that's not terrible. So we're going to need to put in the delays, the role required to start. I'm actually just going to put that in there right now. Attempt to start game. So I'm going to do this. Sorry guys, you're about to get locked out from being able to run the game. Chat user, thank you. I totally know how to type. Code Rewind, thank you for the follow. If the user can run a command, then do it. If they cannot, then we are going to send permission. Chat client, send message. You don't have permission. You must be at least a to start game. And chat user, really? Display name. Alright, congratulations. Alright, let's see. When word got unmasked, you need to guess the word still. Yes, if it is completely unmasked, someone still needs to type it in as their guess. Even if the word is fully unmasked. That is how it works right now. We could change that, but I don't see a big reason to just yet. And we're not currently doing anything with those, but that's fine for now. Alright. Time to commit these changes. Adding a simple Hangman game. Alright. Nice. We're going to toss that up on GitHub. This one is not going to get merged in yet because we've got a lot more work we want to do on this one. However, I do want to call the stream here. So I want to thank everybody for showing up today. And I especially want to thank you all for trying out the bot and having fun with us in chat. It was actually quite good. A handful of you caught some mistakes that I made. And you guys are having fun making the bot swear with these words in here. I'm going to go ahead and fix that. There, now it says pass. Yeah, I really appreciate everybody stopping by. I was glad you made it here too, Fierce Kittens. I was glad, I know Smartasky had mentioned yesterday that he was planning on stopping by, so I also appreciate that. We got some cheers today from people, so thank you Willspin and Smartasky for cheering. Appreciate it. And hopefully you all had fun writing some code and are all looking forward to continuing. So Thursday's stream, and if you do want to see our stream schedule, it's down below in the panels. And that'll adjust to your time zone. Thursday's stream is up in the air right now. So I'm going to be at a conference. I'm going to be at Codapalooza. And Codepalooza? 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 Yeah, Codepalooza. I'm going to check the internet, see how that works. If it feels like I'm going to be able to do a stream, then I will. And if not, then I will catch you all on Saturday. So remember, our streams are on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I look forward to seeing you all there. If you do want to take a look at the code that we've been working on, don't judge it too much because we've been doing it on stream, and I still do need to go back and do some fixing up of that code, because there are a lot of places that we know that we just kind of put something in there. So there's a lot of stuff still to do, so if you want to tackle any of that, you are welcome to. There are a lot of fun things to add. There are suggestions inside the issues on GitHub for different features that we're planning on putting in there. So if you want to work on the Hangman game, you are welcome to, and you can actually send a pull request to the Hangman branch that we've got. So if you do that, you're welcome to add to that. We also have a Discord if you are interested in continuing to talk with other dev chatters afterwards. So you can join our Discord. That is a chat community that is more gaming focused, but it is still going to be used by us because it is so common among Twitch streamers to use a Discord as the way of chatting. So you're welcome to join our Discord. And yeah, I want to thank C# Fritz because we did get an auto host from him. And I should also mention the music we've been listening to, which you guys can probably hear a little bit of background music going. is from relaxdaily.net, and they actually have some free music that you can use for streams and things like what we do here. So that is one other nice thing. And either way, I will catch you all on either Thursday or Saturday. So keep writing good code, and I'll talk with you then.